Slowthai and dropping this is his third album, I
Second
guess.
album, he also had a bunch of EPs. Tyron,
So
his
his
first
first
name.
yeah, his first album, self-titled, was
No,
very
not
well received.
self-titled.
Oh, that
Nothing
was
Great About Britain, 2019.
you're right. I'm sorry. I was getting that confused on the Spotify tracks. My bad, people. Run that back. Nothing great about Britain. Um, got quite a bit of notice back when it dropped in 2019. A lot of acclaim for it. I think the scope of what he was rapping about on this gained a lot of notoriety for just having, I think, a lot to say and some really interesting um, observations, but also packaging it in a way that I think people were really impressed by. Kind of took people by surprise. What was your take on Nothing Great About Britain?
Yeah, we didn't end up reviewing it, which I regretted just because I just got to it late. Like I feel like this Slow Tie is the name I started seeing, and then next thing you know, there's a lot of love for this album, and I think he had timed it to originally drop when Brexit was supposed to happen. I think delays made it so that didn't actually line up, but yeah, as the title would suggest, you can tell he's not someone afraid to call out Boris Johnson and like speak his mind about that kind of thing, and to hear that I think frankness in terms of like political lyrics from someone so young who also is so energetic and like so like crass at the same time definitely felt fresh. Like you listen to him and like he like I think sonically he's on the grime sort of things when it comes to UK rap, but because he has like that like higher register and I don't know if this is he's from Northampton, so like I don't know if like he has an accent. I don't know if about the English linguistics, but like
Mhm.
he sounds a little different than your average, UK driller or other grime artist, right? So like there's something about him that just kind of like catches your ear. And then again, on top of that, like he's actually was having ambition with his lyrics, and uh, he just kind of was edgy. That was his thing, right? But he's
Mhm.
backing it up with the lyrics, and so yeah, I like that. Like, he did some songs like Denzel Curry, and we
Mhm.
talked about him last year on the song "The Mean A Track," "Pressure My Palms." Like
Yep.
he makes a memorable feature when he pops up. But if you read any reviews about Tyron, you'll notice any press about Slowthai right now is acknowledging what happened to him about a year ago at the NME Awards, where he just kind of made a fool of himself and got like kicked out of the award performance after winning an award at the night, and like
An award
definitely
for Hero of the Year,
yeah, he
nonetheless.
definitely took it on the face. You could tell, but he
Yeah.
seems to have come out of that with a better attitude. He said he doesn't drink anymore, stuff like that. So that's good to hear. But and I think the person he was harassing, the host at the award, seems to have you know let it go. So that's nice.
Yeah, it was a comedian who was hosting it, and she actually pretty quickly seemed to um, be understanding of it,
Yeah.
at least publicly. And it seems like the way he's been scrutinized and viewed since then is certainly a contributor to the conceptualization of this album. I think because not only is this, I think, a bit more introspective than the previous or the first album,
Hmm.
but I think you can kind of see in the structure, like you talked about, there seems to be the first half, which is, disc one, a lot more like bombastic. All the titles are capitalized. And the second one seems a bit more, I don't know, introspective, toned down.
Yeah.
Everything's lowercase. And
James Blake shows up.
yeah, he's kind of, he's kind of going for those like two sides to, or multiple sides to a person type thing. Did that work for you?
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. He also is someone I think just because he has a pretty quick flow more often than not that I like to listen to his tracks more than once. I just feel like when I first listened to a lot of his songs, I just kind of listened to the sound of it because he again there's just sound kind of like an edge to him. So like to hear him actually kind of like strip it down and be more inward focused. Again, nice contrast to the first album where he was much more outward focused about his his home. Um, I think it's cool to see, and just in general, like kind of like the trajectory of this coming out of the scandal at the Enemy Awards. Making most of this in the pandemic, but not all of it. Seeing where this came up kind of surprised me, because like listening to the singles like Maza with ASAP Rocky, and I think the James Blake song also came out. I was like, I didn't know what to make of the album from those singles,
Hmm.
But it's pretty interesting. Again, kind of uncommon for like other UK rap stars.
Yeah, for sure. I think his sound is very unique, and really incorporates a lot of different. I don't know. I think rising sounds like there's definitely some moments that sound very grime, but then there's some that kind of remind me of some of the tracks we heard on "King Is Dead" from Kendrick Lamar. A couple of years back.
Hmm.
There's Kenny Beats shows up
Oh
for a
yeah,
couple of tracks.
Kenny.
Darko is all over this, and not knowing much about Darko, it sounds like they're pretty good collaborators, and
Hmm.
I think the sound really works for him. Like even when it's toned back, it all sounds really really good. The production on this is really top notch.
Hmm.
Like a song like "I Tried" is so different than anything in the first seven tracks, and I felt like that was maybe the standout one for me. That sounded like something more in the line of like the R&B, like triumphant sound that you kind of hear. I don't know, coming out of Chicago, I guess, more so than like the grime sound. What tracks it out to you? I guess in the first half and then in the second half,
Yeah,
because I
yeah,
think
yeah.
it's so different.
Yeah, well, I think there's actually been a lot of talk about "Cancelled," which was, I think, like the last single to come out featuring Skepta, the second track. And I think that was interesting because, like, lyrically, it's like really like over the top. If you listen to how Slowthai's been talking, like, he doesn't have like any animosity to what happened to him. He's really owning it and has grown from it. But like a song like that's really over the top. You'd think he's all like rah rah rah, cancel culture sucks, blah blah blah. And like the lyrics are like kind of wrote. Like I feel like what Skepta's saying about like you can't cancel me. It's like I don't know, but it's still an amazing flow from Skepta. All his
Yeah,
features are fucking fire these days, so I still like the track.
I know.
Um, and it's a nice follow up to the song "Glorious" on "Nothing Great About Britain," another great Skepta feature.
Yeah, and that track had me doing the Larry David gif. Like on the
Yeah,
one hand, I was like, I don't know if I really jive with these lyrics, but it just all sounds really good flowing together, and like it's kind of hard to hate the song. Um,
Glastonbury.
but I think in that first half, that run of Vex to What to Dead is probably my
Yeah,
favorite three. Like it just
that shit's
flows
great.
together so well, and Slow Thigh just sounds fucking awesome on all three of those. You liked those too?
Yeah, I think what's the weird one to me because like that beat, I was trying to figure out how to explain it. It's like like chimes almost,
Yeah.
like the way it's like looping through it definitely like a cool production touch, no question.
Mhm.
But yeah, he really brings it on those. Those are I think like the types of slow time moments that reward multiple listens because you probably pick up on additional lines and lyrics when you do that.
Yeah, for sure. And what about the second half of the album? What songs stood out to you there? I mentioned "I Tried," but any others?
Yeah, yeah. At the end, the Feel Away with James Blank and Mount Kimby is pretty interesting to me, just because,
Hmm.
as you might suggest with those features, it's definitely slowing it really deep down for
Yep.
Slow Tie, and he usually is at 100. So to hear it like that, I was like, oh, this is different, but it still works. So I appreciate it. Um, Terms was kind of interesting to me just because I was like, that Denzel Curry feature is like in the background, I think. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't have a verse, so that's kind
Eh,
of disappointing to me. And I think Dominic Fike's all right on the hook, but that one kind of like I listened to that like back to back. I was like, did I miss Denzel? Was I like thinking about something else? Like, was it me? No, it wasn't me. He's just barely on the song.
yeah. No, I really liked NHS. I thought that track was probably one of my favorites, probably my second favorite on the whole thing. But also the way that the whole thing ends on ADHD, which the first half of ADHD I thought was okay, but then he comes in so aggressive and strong at the very end. Almost like it was like a shot of adrenaline right as the album was wrapping up, and I think that's actually a really smart way to end it because it makes you want to go back into that intensity. This is definitely an album that I think you could just kind of put on repeat and run all the way through a couple of times, and it would flow together really well from start to finish So I'm really impressed with this. I think out of all the rappers coming out of England right now, or the UK right now, like Slow Tie seems to be probably the one that I'm most interested in moving forward. Who would you pick for that? Skepta?
Well, I love Skepta so much. Yeah, I
Any?
think it's like thinking about people who are more on the cutting edge. I think of someone like Jay Huss,
Hmm.
just because of that fuck, what was it called? Not Afrofusion. The way he would kind of meld
Yeah.
lots of sounds, bringing that into just more traditional rap. I liked a lot of that. We talked about Big Conspiracy last year. Um, and then yeah, I think probably the most consistent probably Stormzy, but I also been bumping a lot of Heady One these days, so
Hmm.
there's a lot of options, which is great.
Yeah, it's a cool movement over there right now, and not to tie these all in together, but the UK also seems to have probably the most exciting rock sound right now too. So,
That's right.
a lot of good music coming out of that part of the world at the moment. So,
Hmm.
check out this album and check out the Spotify playlist again.